Hey guys, welcome to Consume the Goodness. My name is Kendra. I am a certified lifestyle and weight management specialist, and this channel is all about living well in real life ways, coming from someone who understands balancing a healthy lifestyle with real life challenges. I want to help you guys consume the goodness. I want to help you guys consume the goodness spiritually and physically and in just realistic ways. I love God, I love health, I love combining the two, and I love helping people, which is what I hope to do here. So today we're going to talk about protein and prayer. And before I get started, I really want to remind you guys to talk to your doctor, especially if you see a specialist, but talking to your doctor before you change up any eating or exercise habits or adding anything into something that you're already doing. It's a good idea to talk to your doctor because they know your specific needs and your things that you're diagnosed with, things like that. So you might have to have things modified to better suit you. So I do recommend doing that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about proteins and good ways to get it in. The protein is one of the nutritional building blocks that we talked about before. So we had carbs, protein, and healthy fats. And then just a quick recap. So carbs, you have your our carbohydrates. That's our main energy source. And we have simple carbs and complex carbs. The simple carbs are sugars. So you don't want to have a ton of the simple carbs, but you have like honey, milk, maple syrup, fresh fruit. Those are examples of simple carbs that you do want to get in because those do have good nutritional value. And then the complex carbs have a lot of nutrient density, and those are like your whole grains, so your whole wheat and whole grain cereals and rice and breads and pastas, and then brown rice and vegetables like sweet potatoes, things like that. Those are good examples of complex carbs. So complex carbs, main source of energy, or carbohydrates, main source of energy, and then a good source of fiber. So that's good to have. And then the another one was healthy fats. So another quick recap there. Healthy fats, you can find the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, and you can find that in avocados, a variety of nuts and seeds, olive oil, fish. So that's just an example, just a quick recap, like I said. So those are important to our health as well. And then protein, which is what we are going to be talking about today. Protein helps to repair our broken down tissue, basically. It helps repair and build our tissue. So we work out and we're like, working at all these muscles and feeling the burn and stimulating our muscles, and that muscle tissue breaks down, and then the protein that we consume, it repairs that broken down muscle, and it helps us grow stronger. It helps us grow stronger and leaner, actually. So while eating protein doesn't make our muscles grow, and that's not what makes them strong, it also kind of does. So like we work out, we get our muscles fatigued, and that is really what does it, where our strength comes from. However, if we don't consume the proper nutrients, then our muscles won't be able to build and strengthen to their full potential, if that makes sense. It goes hand in hand. Like you can work out all the time, and so you can be working out, but without feeding our bodies and giving our muscles those nutrients that they need to repair and build, it can only go so far without having those proper nutrients. So it's super important. And protein also helps with recovery. It helps with recovery and repair, and it helps maintain the strength from our workouts. I think that should make sense. If it doesn't, just ask if what I said made absolutely no sense at all. But protein also can help with cravings. It can help us feel fuller longer. And it can help, so that can help prevent overeating. And I don't mean that, the reason I mentioned that it can help prevent overeating is not because I encourage not eating very much or eating a very small amount. I don't encourage that at all. I just say that because it can help with overeating and going like really far. I help with certain cravings, so it can help prevent you from eating a lot of the super low nutrient density foods, or foods that just aren't good for us at all. Less likely to do that. We're probably going to do that at some point. Like I said, I want to do this in realistic ways, real life ways. So I don't ever want to sit here and be like, don't ever eat a donut again in your life. Don't ever eat cake in your life. Don't ever have a slice of pizza in your life, ever again. Do those things carry a lot of nutrient density for our bodies? No, not really. But that it's just a real life, you guys. Okay, so, and it is real life. It's super easy for some people to never have that stuff. And then other people are like, oh yeah, I need to have it in there. Otherwise I'm going to go crazy and overeat it at some point. But anyway, protein also can, it help. We have proteins of just all going all through our bodies. So with our hair, skin, and nails, and with growth and repair of our cells, a lot of benefits, a lot of good things. Our body seriously needs the protein. We need to consume a good amount of protein. Animal protein, if you get your protein from an animal source, then that is a great way to get in vitamin B12 and actually other B vitamins, vitamin D, iron, zinc, calcium, a lot of things. If you do not eat meat, in order to get the proper vitamins and minerals and proteins and fats, all of those nutrients, as a vegetarian, no matter what like type, I know there are different kinds of vegetarians, so vegan or lacto-vegetarian or ovo-vegetarian, whatever, if you're not getting your protein from a meat source or very limited meat source, animal source, I mean, it's really important to make sure that you combine your foods well, and your stuff needs to be like super balanced. So calcium fortified milk, calcium fortified beverages, whole grain cereals and breads, or like oatmeal, things like that, because you still have protein content in those, and nuts and seeds, dark green leafy vegetables, beans and legumes. Just make sure that it's very balanced and wholesome so that you're getting in the protein that you need. And let's see, also I just want to mention really quick to be careful, watch for labels, because if you're not getting, it's easy to get a chicken or a lean steak or ground meat or whatever. But if you are not getting anything from meat and you see some package that says like great source of protein, okay, look at the protein, yeah, that's fine, but also look at what else is in there. You want it to be a wholesome source of protein, so look at the ingredients on things. Can you even pronounce what's in it? Things like that. Good to keep an eye out for that stuff. So we are not going to gain as much muscle. We're not going to gain as much muscle or lean mass without the proper nutrients, and protein is a really big part of that. So I'm used to coaching one-on-one, just individual basis, knowing a person's weight and height and age. Are you male or female? What's your activity level? Things like that. So this is going to be a very generalized, but that's okay, because we can still get some good ideas of how to get protein in and how much of it, things like that. So just a general rule to follow usually is 1 gram of protein for each kilogram of body weight. And there's a formula to follow. There are also, I think on our calculators, on our phones, things like that, there's a conversion thing, just kilograms to grams. But I still am going to say what the formula is, because I think it's important to know how to do it, or at least to know it. I don't know. Does that make me like, I don't know. Does that make me nerdy? Old school? Real simple, I don't know, but either way, that's how I feel. So the formula to find that is kilograms equals pounds over 2.2046, and that will give me an idea of how many grams of protein you need to eat each day. So if you weighed 160 pounds, then you would want to aim to eat at least 73 grams of protein a day. So because with the formula, you have kilograms equals pounds, which would be 160 over 2.2046, and then that number can be rounded to around 73. So I need to aim for at least 73 grams of protein a day. And let's see, different ways to get your protein in. So I say just to like get creative. That's at least the way I do it. Some people really need like different recipes to go off of, which there are tons of places you can search online for just high protein breakfast, dinner, snacks, things like that. The way I seem to do the best with these things is just to have the good ingredients in our house, and then I just look at different stuff and put stuff together to make some kind of meal. So you want to have like just some ideas: skinless chicken or turkey, chicken and turkey, or the lean ground chicken and turkey, eggs, skim milk, different cheeses like cottage cheese, Swiss cheese, cheddar cheese, mozzarella cheese. Those are good. Feta cheese, stuff like that. Your low-fat yogurt, nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, lean meats. And so for like steak and pork chops, you just want to have not a whole lot of visible fat. So not a ton of marble, not a ton of visible fat that you can see. And if you do get something like that, I would just recommend cutting that stuff off before you cook it and eat it. And then ground beef to have at least, I would say like 95% or leaner, but I would say 90-10 should be like the highest fat content of ground beef that you get. And then we have like fish and soy. Those are different examples of good protein sources, meat protein sources mostly. You just don't want to have a very high fat content or high sodium protein source. So usually like ham is a good example of that. It's usually one of those, can be like higher fatty, but definitely higher in sodium. So that would be an example of one to maybe not have a ton of. Let's see. There are also apps, like there are apps to track how much. So if you're like, I don't want to do this, like what am I supposed to write down the protein that I eat in a day, which some people do that and they're perfectly fine with it. And then but there are apps out there where you can just plug in what you're eating and then look at what that looks like in your day, how much protein was in that, how many carbs, how many whatever. So there's an app called Lose It. I know I tried that for just a little bit. The app that I use is MyFitnessPal, and I'll add a few pictures up here of just what it looks like. It's really simple, it's convenient, and it can just really help with keeping track of what you're eating and how much of it to eat, and it can help with those types of things. So that's good to have. I know it can be annoying, like, oh, I'm supposed to just, I mean, you can type it in, search whatever food you're eating, or you can just scan a barcode of something, and it really is helpful, especially if you're just getting used to things like this. It helps you stay on track. In my opinion, it's very helpful, and I'll probably have a video about logging foods and how important that is, or if it's important at all. So it also has little things that pop up like, oh, this is good for you, or this is high in protein. This is, your goal is to stay under this much sodium, or under this much fat in a day. So it kind of helps with little things like that to keep you on track as well. So I find that pretty helpful. But you can also just use the palm of your hand. So if you prefer not to do that, just estimating things, you can use the palm of your hand, and that usually is about a serving size of protein. And I would say to do that like 2 to 3 times a day. And again, this is just very generalized, just to give you an idea. But if you would like to have more specific information, if you have questions about you specifically, then please feel free to comment, or you can email me at consumethegoodness@gmail.com, and I will be happy to give you suggestions or help answer any of your questions based on your individual information, your age and your weight and height and activity level and male or female, that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to do that, just so you know. So protein is super important after a workout, yes. And a lot of people, I have found a lot of people really think that that's like when it's the most, that's when it is important. It's just important to make sure you have protein after a workout, and then not really think so much about it throughout the rest of the day. But that's not true at all. It's good. We need to have well-balanced meals. We need to have that protein all throughout the day. We need to be consuming it throughout the day, so that, because our bodies, we need that repair and that that build up, helping with building, repairing, restoring, recovery. We need it all through the day, not only after we have worked out. So, like, for example, if I made, just an example of well-balanced but still high protein, if I made a breakfast burrito or a wrap or breakfast burrito, however you want to say it, with a high fiber tortilla and mozzarella cheese and some light sour cream and maybe like some salsa in there, an egg, a few slices of turkey bacon, that would be, with those ingredients, that would be a meal that has about 30 grams of protein, which is really good. But it's not only a high protein meal, it's very well balanced. You have your healthy, your low fat dairy in there. You have complex carbs from the grains and seeds from the tortilla, protein from the eggs and the turkey bacon. You do have healthy fats in there. So that would be an example of a well-balanced meal, a well-balanced, you can have, I don't know, like, even if you wanted to add even more protein to it, some cottage cheese with fruit, or yogurt with fresh fruit, or, a glass of milk, something like that, that would add even more protein to it, but still it would be well-balanced. Your body's getting nutrients from a lot of different food groups, still lots of protein though. So our proteins, our bodies, we need all of that protein. Our bodies will benefit from that all throughout the day, not just after a workout. And the reason why I had this as protein and prayer is because prayer really does, in my opinion, have a lot of similarities with prayer. Not 100% exactly the same, but there are a lot of things there, because that also is important all throughout the day, not only when we're going through a hard time. Just like protein isn't only important after a workout, after we are like worn out from the workout, it's all throughout the day important. Just like prayer all throughout the day is important, not only when we're going through a hard time. It's important all the time, and it helps us go stronger and be repaired, being repaired. In the book of James, which I'll put up here where exactly it is, but in the book of James, it talks about our specific needs being met through prayer, and in everything, in suffering and illness and sin and in cheerfulness, and just meeting all of our needs. And in those things, we grow in faith. Just like in protein, if you want to word it the same, in protein, we grow in physical strength, and like through our trials or through our workouts. So I find a lot of connection with protein and prayer. And in Romans 5:3 and 4, I'll read that. Romans 5:3 and 4 says, "And not only that, but we also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance character, and character hope." And so it made me think of rejoicing in our suffering, because that produces perseverance, and in that character, and in that hope. And hope is, it builds up to that hope, our desire and our confidence in God and what He can do and what He can produce. And the connection that I made with that is that we should be staying consistent with our workouts and our consumption of nutritious protein. We should be enjoying our workouts, knowing that they are producing endurance, and in that strength, and in that confidence in our desired health results. So does that make sense? Do you see the connection? Things that, I just thinking about this, things that produce endurance, they aren't always easy. And that's okay, because we know that it's making us stronger. And actually, at the beginning of these videos, I talk about real life, balancing healthy living in real life ways from somebody who understands real life challenges. And I am going through a few myself right now, and I was actually going to do this video yesterday, but I didn't, because yesterday was one of those days where a lot of things build up over time, and then one more thing happens, and it's just like the straw that broke the camel's back type of thing. And that's what yesterday was. And it was like, breaking, like just breakdown crying type of thing, and just feeling a lot of different emotions. And then in that, I just started to, I felt like I just don't think I can do this video. I was just feeling so down. And I didn't think that would produce a very good video, because I would just be like bummed out and really trying to force my smile. And I just felt, I don't know, I was just going through things. And then later that night, last night, I was thinking, you know what, how much longer would it be before I make another video if I just keep waiting until after I feel better, or wait till whatever's going on isn't going on anymore? And that would just be completely hypocritical of me, because I'm sitting here trying to encourage you guys not to do that, and I would be doing it. And so I had to remind myself that I'm doing this for a reason, and I'm doing this not for myself. I'm doing this, I need to be stepping out of my comfort zone to help get a good message out there. And Satan loves for us to be angry. And oh my gosh, ooh, okay, whew. I feel like I'm gonna say this, I don't know who it's going to resonate with, or if it's going to resonate with anybody, or if it's going to even make any sense. But I just feel like, okay, Satan loves for us to be angry and depressed and jealous and full of doubt and afraid. And he wants us surrounded by like fire. He wants us surrounded by fire. Oh man. Imagine being a child. And you are sitting in the middle of a fire, and then a firefighter comes and scoops you up and covers you in a blanket, and you can't see what's going on around you anymore. You know that the fire is there, and you can feel the heat, but you can't see it anymore. And you might still have some fear, like fear of the unknown, and but you're still able to feel comfort. You're still able to feel comfort while, as you're wrapped up, you have fear of the unknown, but you can still feel comfort somehow, knowing that strong, just brave firefighter who's holding you so tightly does know. He does know what he's doing, and he's fearless because he knows the fire well, and he knows that you're going to be okay. And before you know it, you're brought to safety, and you still might be shaken up, and you still might be traumatized from what just happened. But the more important part is that you know that God isn't going to let you burn. And oh man, I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. I feel like if it doesn't make sense, I don't know. I feel obviously that came out for some reason, and I guess whoever hears it, whoever needs to hear, or whoever it was meant for, it will make sense to you. And so I'm keeping that in here. So okay, what I was talking about. Let's see. I was talking about. So Romans 12:12. I wanted to say this too. Romans 12:12 relates to the whole protein thing also, I feel like, because it talks about rejoicing in hope and being patient in tribulation and continuing steadfastly in prayer. And so I feel like we should do that. Like, let's rejoice. Let's feel happy in the things that we do, and let's feel happy while we do these things that are leading us into a healthier lifestyle. And let's be patient as we work on forming healthy habits, and as we work to see results from the workouts that we do, from the work that we're putting in with our healthy eating and oh my gosh, I'm shaking with our healthy eating and things like that. Let's continue to be persistent in our healthy habits and our workouts, and to stay on topic with this video and our consumption of healthy proteins. And I'm going to list a few more verses up here that I thought about, that I thought about relating to this video. I would say that those are like some starting points, but there are more places in the Bible, of course, talking about prayer. And I really encourage anyone to just get into God's word. Like, whether you already do it now or don't, maybe you don't do it a lot or you don't do it at all, I do encourage that you do, because you will benefit greatly from it. I believe that you will. And especially if you do like what I'm doing here, where I try to connect it somehow to real life, like praying, okay, God, help me understand this. And then also finding ways to connect it, or finding analogies. A lot of times when we have analogies with something that we're learning about or hearing about, something just clicks sometimes when analogies are being used. And I don't mean to, try to find ways where it relates to your life or trying to find analogies. When I say that, I don't mean trying to change the message in the Bible. That is not what I'm saying, but just to try to understand it better. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, like, in no way would I ever want anyone to try and twist the words in the Bible just to match up with what they want or feel. And actually the opposite is what I'm saying, to try to make what you want and feel match up with the Bible. That's a good thing to do. So I would say I apologize for going off topic a little bit there just a little bit ago when I was talking about the fire thing, but I'm definitely not. I'm not going to apologize, because that obviously came out for some reason, and I'm just going to pray over it now that it is heard by whoever it was meant for, and that it makes sense and is helpful in some way. And that that's the whole point of why I do these videos, to be helpful with living a healthy life, to be helpful in getting closer with God and growing in our relationship with God. And then also so for this video, the protein. We went over protein, how it's important, different ways to get it in. Some other ideas would be like getting canned chicken or canned tuna, and getting maybe like the olive oil Miracle Whip, and some pickles, and I don't know, whatever you usually put in that type of stuff, onions or hard-boiled eggs, stuff like that. Mix it up and eat that on some, make a sandwich out of it with some whole grain or whole wheat bread, or on a slice of toast, put that on there. Use some like whole grain crackers and eat that with it. Yeah, I think that's it for today. And if you do have any specific questions or would like recommendations for just you specifically, please, like I said before, feel free to comment or to email me at consumethegoodness@gmail.com, and I will love to help you. I love helping people. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that it kind of helps, get your minds going on being more aware of just having well-balanced meals and the importance of well-balanced meals, how it's important in our bodies. So that's it. Thank you so much for liking and commenting and subscribing. I know that all these little things added up help get it, spread out farther. And thank you so much for sharing these videos. It means so much. It does not mean so much because of me, myself. That's not, and I know I say this, and I'm going to keep saying it in these videos. I appreciate it so much when you guys share these videos, not for me, not for my recognition, for God. I do these videos for God to get His word out there, and I do these videos for you because I really do love helping people, and God and having Him in your life and getting closer and knowing more is extremely important. And our bodies, this is the only life we get, you guys, and this is the only body that we get, and so taking care of it, at least for the most part, taking care of our bodies, putting good things inside of our bodies, and drinking enough water, and which water also, I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's good to, I would say minimum would be like 64 ounces a day. Again, this is also is very dependent upon your activity level and your weight, things like that, but a good rule would be like half your body weight in ounces. So just however much you weigh divided by 2, that would be a good amount of water. And again, that's just a general thing without knowing your weight or your activity level. But when you share these videos, it just means so much because it's helping get more of God's word out there and helping helping remind us that it's important to take care of ourselves and just, good ways to do that. So thank you so much. I love you guys. God bless, and I hope to have you back on the next one.